So today we have a company that had participated in X-Culture multiple times. We have the company CEO, co-founder, whom I know very well personally. So we've met multiple times at conferences, worked together. Leighton Berisha is a very interesting person for the reason that he is an educator and entrepreneur and a researcher. So most of the business professors, unfortunately or naturally, they just teach business. And then there are many people who do business. Well, he does both. He teaches and does. And so he started a company as a professor, and then it's now, I assume, consumes most of his time. So, and it's been a while, so it's been a couple of years since Finnish Schools International participated in X-Culture. So I know a lot about the company as of a couple of years ago, and I know many developments have been happening. So I'm actually very curious to hear what's new, what's happening. And so with that, maybe I'll turn the microphone to Leighton for a quick introduction of yourself and your business. And we have a lot of questions already. So we'll ask you then about the history of the company and the products and business model and whatever other questions will come our way. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and your business, and then we'll go into the Q&A format.
Wonderful. Vas, thank you so much for this opportunity. As you said, we've known each other for many, many years. I participated in the first X-Culture as a professor back in 2011. I believe it was the second or third cohort.
Right in the beginning, yeah, one of the first, yes.
One of the first, yeah. I'm not sure it was second or third, but it was one of the. It wasn't the first one. I know that. I'm not sure if it was the second or the third one. And since then, of course, I've been active for many cohorts as a professor with, and then in the last couple of years, I haven't been really actively teaching. So as Vas said, I'm more focused on both my entrepreneurial ventures as well as I am at the helm of now relatively large university for the local standards. I would say for the regional standards in Kosovo, I run a university which is now powered by Arizona State University, so UNI, University International College in Kosovo, with over 6,000 students. So for our region, it's one of the bigger ones, not the biggest, but one of the bigger universities. Of course, still very small for typical universities.
Oh, that's actually pretty sizable. 6,000, that's pretty sizable, yes.
Yeah. So I've been in education for over 20 years, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as an academics, also as an investor. I invest in EdTech startups. Have had a significant exit 2 years ago with Crossplag, which was also one time
Oh,
an X-Culture. So we sold Crossplag 2023 VAS to Inspira, a Norwegian company. Inspira does the full assessment ecosystem, so proctoring, online assessments, and now integrity as well. So I've been in those shoes as well. Just to give you a quick history of Finnish Schools International.
yes. Tell us
And
about the school, the
yeah,
idea, the history, but also the product and the offerings. Yes.
exactly. And then I have a short presentation
Yeah, yeah.
as
And
well,
let me make sure that you can share them
which
over
I'll
the.
share.
Mhm.
I am
Yeah, you should be able to
calling
share
from
the slides if
home,
needed.
and I'm with my MacBook, and although I've been using Mac for 15 years, I still get confused when I try to do things in Mac, as in the office I still have a PC, and so bear with me until I find the document that I need to share.
Mac is a
I
wonderful
apologize.
platform, but I never could figure out how the file search, I mean, how the file management works. Easier to type the file name
Exactly.
than, yeah.
Exactly. And then I always fail to find where is my window that I should look at, which one is open, which one is not. So that's my issue there. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think I found it. So I'll try just quickly to share, and it can stay in the background while I speak further. Together with me, it's my colleague Yanis Salmela, who is our Chief Education Officer. Yane was also a principal for 4 years at our flagship school, Finnish School of Kosovo, which is
Mhm.
basically where it's our lab school where we built everything. So it's from there we have been able to build the model and everything. I'm just trying now to see if I could do full screen here, and I think
Yeah, yeah, it is on
good.
full screen, yes.
Okay, good. Wonderful. So Finnish Schools International started in 2017. We registered the company, but the idea behind that is much older. I'm an education entrepreneur, and I wanted to create a new K-12 model that would be innovative, of course, would be experimental, but with proven results. And the inspiration came when I read many years ago, I think back in 2014 or 15, I read a study from a few NASA scientists who basically, it's a very long, like 30-year study that they've done. It's one of the longest studies. They looked at 1 million people from the age of 5 until they became adults. And they wanted to assess the- their creativity to see how creativity changes with age. So when they looked at kids, 5 years old kids, the findings were completely shocking. 98% of 5 years olds are genius in creativity. So 98% of 5 years olds are genius in creativity. And I was like, wow. I mean, nobody thought of that. We think creativity is something very special, very rare, very unique, that we can find only in a few individuals. To some extent, that is true, but the reason why that is true, we'll tell you now. And then they looked at the same kids and they assessed them again, and of course they observed them while they were growing from the age of 5 to the age of 10. And then when they did the numbers dropped enormously, radically to
Hmm.
30%. So now only 30% of 10 years olds continued to be genius in terms of creativity. So 68% lost their genius in creativity. Wow, that's even more shocking. And then they did again after 5 years at the age of 15, and the numbers continued to drop to 10%. And then they looked at, when they became adults and again 22 to 24 years old, and the numbers dropped again, this time radically. Only 2% of those genius kids actually
Wow.
continue to foster their genius in their creativity. So from 98 to 2%. And of course, this is maybe one of the most shocking revelations I've ever read, and it's just unimaginable. And then, of course, what's even more shocking and intriguing is that, of course, they were intrigued why. I mean, what happens? So, of course, they did. They observed those kids while they were growing, and then they looked at the causes. What is the reason why? And of course, there are several reasons for this, but one stood out from all, in a very, I would say, different way, and much more than any other thing, and that was school. So basically, school is the main reason, if not the only, but the main reason that actually kills the creativity of people. And for me, that was like, wow,
Should
the
be the other way
institution,
around.
exactly, the institution that we trust our kids to actually make them better, enrich creativity, it's the one that actually kills. So I really had a goal to build a new model that would actually, if not enrich, at least preserve the creativity. Because then, 98% of kids are genius anyway. So you don't need, you don't need much there. You just need to preserve that. And of course, and then I'm from Kosovo, by the way. Um, um, and I went to Finland for the first time in my life in 2014 and also in 2015, 2 years for a conference called Slash. It's a big event on tech, startups, innovation. And then, of course, my focus was always on education and EdTech. So I liked quite a lot what I saw there. So I said, wow, maybe this is the place that I could take as a model. And of course, Finland had already been famous by then, because you might remember that when the first PISA results came out in 2001 or two, Jana, you can correct me here for the year, Finland ranked number one in, I think, both reading as well as in math.
Yep, yep.
It has changed ever since, and not, I would say, not so much because Finland has gone down, but because a lot of countries are taking PISA now as a sort of a challenge that they need to
Yeah,
improve the
teaching
results.
to the test.
Teaching to the test, exactly. Something that Finland doesn't do at all, and rightly so, to be honest. So it was already famous, but I sort of got to experience that first time in my life. So then I worked for 2 years, established a very small team in Helsinki, Finland, and built a model. And then we launched in 2017, and we launched the first school in 2018, the Finnish school in Kosovo. And when we launched, of course, I wanted to really build this school that was innovative, very experiential, as well as experimental, but with still, proven results. Because at the end of the day, parents need results. Unfortunately, we still need to send our kids to university, because then me and Vas might be jobless if a lot of people think otherwise. And when we go to university, we still have, the standardized admission procedures that we need to comply with that. But I made the promise that, we were building a school that would be really the top 10 in the world, top 20 at that time. It was one of the most innovative schools. But also we built a model that we could replicate. And since then, we have built a franchising model. We have currently 5 other schools that we have franchised. So we have 6 schools in the FSI currently. And then in the last several years, our model has started to gain traction also globally. We somehow came under the radar of CNN back in 2022.
CNN, the news corporation.
CNN International, yeah.
Hmm.
So they featured our school in one of their news sessions for a project I mean, CNN has this My Freedom Day project, and there are, I don't know, 10,000, 15,000 schools that participate, and somehow our school made it into their main news. So that was like, wow. And then CNN producers started following us and started contacting us saying, wow, we started following you guys, you're doing incredible things. And then, they wanted more info, they wanted more footage, they wanted to learn about our system. And for a year and a half, they featured us in several of their small things, initiatives here and there. And then after a year and a half, they wanted to have an interview with one of my colleagues, Ed Lira, who was the contact point and who ran actually most of our initiatives, especially in regards to CNN. And then they did an interview. We had no idea, to be honest, what that was about. And then out of that interview, they created a short 90-second video called CNN Highlights. If you watch CNN International, every 10 or 15 minutes, they have this 90-second videos, CNN highlights. They highlight something, whether an initiative globally, an institution, usually, I mean, not a company, I would say. All of their initiatives are not for profit. And we're a for-profit company, by the way,
Hmm.
legally. I mean, it's not that we're making much of a profit these days, but our legal status is a for-profit company. So then they featured us for a year as a CNN highlight, which gave us a platform to promote our model. We got 30,000 seconds on CNN, which
Whoa.
uh, yeah, if we would have paid it as an ad, would be anything between 15 and a half and $105 million, I think, based on the public prices that we could find for CNN for low peak or high peak prices that they have per second.
Yeah.
So it made sort of a big highlights. And then this year, after several years that we were basically we were nominated, but we never made it to the top whatever 500 or whatever they do the first shortlist this year. We somehow made it to top something. So then we were contacted by the world's best school prizes for our initiative that we still run. We used to run with together with. I mean, part of the CNN my call to earth it's called the initiative, and then they did a lot of interviews with us, and they checked the data, asked for more data and more information, and then on I believe sometimes in June they told us that, look, you guys are shortlisted for the top 10 in the world for environmental action. And
Wow.
then they did some more fact checking, and they did also an interview with me, Jan, and the rest of the team. And on the 19th of June, we were announced as one of the top 10 schools in the world for
Wow.
environmental action. Out of at least for that year, I think there are six and something thousand schools that were initially considered, and I don't know, maybe they after that they did 500, or I don't know how many when they started to evaluate. And so we made it in the top 10 in the world, which is, I think, an incredible achievement. And then, of course, we got a lot of good praise from all over. And then in the last year and a half, while we're working with our franchisees, we started to learn that it's so hard to franchise a full school model because
Yeah.
there are so many things that make a school unique. So what we've done instead, we went on and we built a more of I would say, digital product, more of an EdTech product.
And that's new.
Uh,
So you didn't have or had a little bit of it, but not it wasn't the main product last time. Yeah. So tell us more
It
about
wasn't.
this.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
So then this is the now what we're doing is we selling it as a package as an edtech product, and we're trying to work with schools from around the world. Our focus is on mid-tier price schools, mostly local curriculum, even local language or bilingual, but not the premium schools, not the premium international schools. We're trying to work with schools who need empowering, who lack growth, who aren't able to train their teachers, who maybe use a bit of an outdated model. So we build an edtech product that helps schools to empower their students, train their teachers, and in a way future-proof their schools with our globally renowned learning model. And this is because basically, we have now really a proven model. We have a credibility being top 10 in the world. Uh, we've also been featured on Forbes. I didn't mention that, but because that was only one time, let's say. But CNN has been, incredible for us. So we start from that. So what we offer these schools is a credible model of transformation that is basically if you look today at the education system, it's still stuck in the past. Most of the
Yeah,
schools around the world, they have stagnant enrollment. So main problem is that if you don't have growth, you're not able also to invest. And a lot of schools have been stuck in this um, mediocre layer that aren't able to grow because they don't have the potential to invest, and it's very costly to really change everything. Of course, there's low differentiation. There's schools still, unfortunately, 19th century factory,
right,
industrial
yeah. It's
revolution.
still raise your hand to talk.
Exactly, exactly. Of course, outdated teaching methods and yeah, overburdened teachers with no support. And we're living in the age of AI. Imagine, if we're not able to close the gap, there will be a huge digital divide, and digital transformation is not easy for schools all around the world. So what we're doing is that we're taking all those challenges and bringing into one product, and we're offering this promise to school. But what if your school could have a globally competitive curriculum, a recognized brand in education, a future-ready teacher training model, and a digital transformation? So our solution is simple. We're offering basically four things. First, we're offering a curriculum, okay? But we're not offering a full curriculum. So we're not asking schools to replace your local curriculum.
Mhm.
In many countries, you cannot do that.
Yeah,
Local
Ministry of
regulation
Education,
doesn't.
certification, accreditation. Yep.
Exactly. So ministries, they don't allow that. And so you still have to continue. But now, how do you lift up your students? How do you develop their 21st century skills or your teachers with that curriculum? So what we're doing is we're offering a ready to use, localized, content based, phenomenon based learning. So we're offering a new curriculum that is offered as an additional curriculum, as an extracurricular. You could do 2 hours, 3 hours, or 4 hours per week. And I could tell you a little bit later on of what this is. That's the first thing. So the curriculum. Second thing is Teacher Excellence Hub. With it's mostly AI avatars developed and offered over 60 different modules on not just on how to teach on phenomenon-based learning curriculum, but overall how to create a student-centered learning environment. Basically, we're taking those teachers and through our training programs, really lifting them up. We're offering them a different perspective. So mostly is done through AI, and then we use people, humans, to coach them. So
Mhm.
when you take the training, you also have their different tasks that you need to do in the classroom, every week. And then the mentors will basically observe and coach and assess initially and then help and coach. And this way, we increase the academic quality because we have a better curriculum. So the students learn based on phenomenon-based learning curriculum, which is an integrated curriculum. So you don't have subjects there. There is no math, English, science, whatever. You teach on different phenomena, and
Mhm.
then these phenomena include different subjects. And in this way, you
Makes sense. Yeah.
learn about things that make sense and develop 21st century skills. But of course, in order to do that, you need to upgrade the teachers because, I mean, if it was so easy, everybody would have done it already, but it's not so easy. So academically, you're there. And then we offer you the branding. So we don't change your school's name. You continue to keep your name, but we offer it powered by Finnish Schools International. So
Mm-hmm.
under your school brand, you have the powered by Finnish Schools International, and then we help you in rebranding the school and marketing it better, and marketing all the new features that the school offers. The fourth thing is we offer an AI-powered learning, but more than learning, a quality assurance system. So
Mm-hmm.
then from every year, you have to go through a quality assurance system to see where is your school and what could be improved. We set objectives every year, and you have to achieve those objectives. So in this way, you make the school better. And the final one is you're part of a global community. So you join a network of schools
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
worldwide, and in this way, you learn from one another, you build projects together, you utilize the network effects. And all of this, of course, it's based on the Finnish education model, which
Mm-hmm.
is both the curriculum, the quality assurance, but also the branding and the community. So it's an overarching theme for everything. So basically, four features of the product with the aim to transform the school internally and let you grow as well with higher student numbers. And this, what we do is, for example, also for the students that will take us as a if they want us as a challenge, we help this in three, simple steps on strategic planning and customization. We analyze the school challenges, and based on that, we provide a plan, and then we start implementing it, which is mostly digital. And then, of course, we provide continuous support and global recognition that make your school grow and transform. As I said initially, who is this for? We say private and public schools. To be honest, it's not that we will have many public schools, but there might be even public schools who want to to buy our product, not necessarily maybe the branding and the marketing, but maybe they want to get the curriculum and the teacher
Curriculum.
training because
Yeah.
it will be still cheaper for them to do that through us than
Develop. Yeah.
on their own. One thing I forgot to
To that
mention
one, if I
was,
may, so I actually wish American schools took a closer look at it. So in the United States, education is extremely decentralized. So they not only sort of delegate it to the level of states and counties, it almost sometimes looks like they delegate it to the level of teacher. And so my
yeah,
kids, my younger one just finished high school. Very often she would get like all those worksheets and like some materials that the teacher himself herself developed, takes photocopies every year. So it's like 20 years old, like 560th photocopy that you can barely read. And sometimes I think, why do you expect teachers to develop their own curriculum? I understand that it's academic freedom, but if you
yeah,
have PhDs whose job is to develop that stuff, they can probably do a better job. It's still okay if the teacher decides to do something on their own, why not? But I
yeah.
mean, don't make them do almost everything. And yes, something does come from the school district, from the state, but still sometimes I kind of wish they were given some high quality standardized stuff and then let them adapt it to their own whatever preferences. So what you're describing, I truly wish was available. I guess much of that or some of that is available through other sources like Khan Academy and whatever else, but still Power School, yeah.
I think you absolutely agree with you spot on, Vas. Because when you empower teachers, and I mean, in Finland, teachers have a lot of autonomy, but they have to be really very well trained, really
Yeah,
highly
yeah.
trained. Finnish teachers have 6 years of education, a master's degree in education, 1 year of in school training or practicum before they become teachers. If you have these kind of teachers, you don't need us,
Yeah, which sadly in the United States is not the case. Not to
exactly.
mention the disgrace, their salaries. I mean, nominally they may be high, but they're lower than sort of entry-level jobs in the corporate world. And so as
Yeah,
a result, I don't want to. So some teachers are outstanding, but some,
absolutely.
unfortunately, are
There are
people who just couldn't find a job in the office. So unfortunately,
Exactly. So that's the thing. And imagine this, we have a lot of issues in the United States. And imagine Brazil or
Mhm.
India or Philippines or Indonesia or anywhere in the world, to be honest. I mean, especially bigger countries who have even more challenges. The beauty of this is that now through AI, we can offer all of this also in the local language. All
Mhm.
the training modules are also offered
That was actually one of the questions. So not locked to English anymore.
not locked to English. So you can deliver this in your local language.
Nice.
We would love that our curriculum is delivered in English because that's part of the development for kids as well. But we understand, for example, in Turkey, where we have majority of our franchisees, they have big issues with language.
Mhm.
So even in the teacher training, we get lost in translation sometimes when we bring in trainers from mostly from Finland, or when Yanni goes there, or when we deliver monthly online trainings, we have a lot of issues because they need to be translated and everything there, and the teachers cannot retain most of that. Now we have interactive AI avatars who deliver it in your own language, and then you have to do a lot of assignments there. Sometimes, I mean, not the assignments not with the avatar. The assignments are checked by coaches that we have, by the mentors, but it's still delivered in local language, which is very important. And so we're looking at those schools. We're not looking at, if your school is already high up there, top international school, or even a top local school, it's going well. You already have 21st century skills embedded in your curriculum, why not? That's beautiful. But I think we can help a lot of private schools as well as public schools. So even for public schools, if you want to invest in scalable education reform projects, for example, a country or a district, as it is in US, I think this is for them. And still you can
One quick
use.
question. One quick question, if I may, kind of related to what so languages we discussed. Bendicanti is asking about curriculum same everywhere or adjusted for the country. Do you understand correctly that you offer all kinds of things and people can assemble what they need, right? So it's not the full package or other. How does it
So
work with the
what
curriculum?
what we do is, when we did together with you the challenge bus, you saw there we
Mhm.
had the main territories or
Mhm.
the target
Yeah, yeah,
regions,
markets.
countries. So for the target regions, what we're doing is that we're doing mapping of local curriculum with our curriculum. So
Mhm.
then our curriculum actually meets the local education standards of even the local curriculum. So it's already customized. If you're telling me I want to do this in Brazil, will that curriculum be different from the one in Philippines? Yes.
Mhm.
It will not be 100% different, but it will be slightly different because it has to meet the education standards set forth by the
Right,
whatever the
right, right.
regional ministry or
Makes
the
sense.
national ministry or whatever. Of course, the approach is the same. Teacher training modules will be the same. Those things will be the same because we're trying to elevate the standards. We're not trying to adopt to the local standard. We're trying to take those schools, their standards, and elevate them into. But I think there is nothing like this that exists currently globally, where a product, a digital product, can bring you curriculum that develops 21st century skills with kids, a full teacher training hub that really empowers and develops your teachers. Because when you start teaching phenomenon-based VAS, you
Mhm.
also become better teacher in your own local curriculum as well. So
Right.
we empower teachers and we make them better teachers. Okay. Third, you get a brand. You get powered by Finnish Schools International, which gives you a lot of credibility in there. You have a brand that has been a top 10 in the world. You have a brand that has been a CNN highlight. So these things help you in the overall branding. And then you have the quality assurance. So we make sure that your school performs every year, overperforms. If you're underperforming, then we work with you to see where are the issues, how to address those,
Yeah.
and all of this in a relatively, I would say, cheap package, 20,000 euros or
There
30,000.
was a question about pricing, so it's a fixed price per school for the whole package.
It's yes. On the student numbers, I think I've sent in the challenge. It's
Mhm.
up to, if I'm not mistaken, 400, 300 or 400 students.
Mhm.
It's 20,000 euros, and then above that number is 30,000, and that's it. So we don't charge anything
Very
more.
reasonable.
Yeah, there. I mean, compared to franchising model, for example, in in Brazil, as an example, because franchising is very big in Brazil. So franchising can go up to 12% royalty. So 10 plus 2, 10% royalty plus 2% for joint marketing budget, which is a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
if you make $1 million in revenue, you'll pay 120,000. And to make $1 million there, you need only 250 students, so or 300 students. So similar school, would pay 100,000, 120,000, and sometimes they get even less than what they get from us. Of course, we have digitized most of the product. That's why we could be cheap. Otherwise, if we did all of this only with people live on the
Yeah,
ground, then it would have been maybe 10 times or even more. But if we're that expensive, then we don't think there is um, a market for us because we're going to the schools that really need growth and uplifting. Sorry, I've spoken for almost 35 minutes.
well, and we do have some questions, if I may then. So, so who are the decision makers who make the purchasing decision in this case? Are those schools, principals, headmasters, individual teachers, or some sort of government officials, or all of the
It's
above?
Yeah, if you for example you're doing this challenge and you're going in, one of the points there is that you have to talk to real schools. I think we said 10 to
Mhm. Yeah,
15. Of
yeah, yeah,
course,
yeah,
it depends, and maybe it could be five. I don't know. It's that would be decided by Vas and the ex-culture team. But if you when you talk to them, yes, principal or even school board, an owner or depending on what's the ownership structure, but you have to
yeah,
talk to them because they are decision makers. Of course, what you can do is you can talk to teachers as well or students, say, would you like this? And then they go and make pressure
yeah,
to
yeah,
their management. So it can always go bottom up through sort of ambassador programs, but ultimate decision makers are the school heads, principals or owners or boards, depending on the structure. If you're talking about, let's say, well, look, I want to do a whole sort of school reform in X country or X region, in a region in India. Okay, I want to do the full school reform in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so then of course you have to talk to the local authorities there. I mean, to the local government of Andhra Pradesh, for example. And but if it's a private, then you talk to these people.
yeah, 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 good point.
In Africa, so
One more question related to decision makers or users in a way. So in the United States, again, given the sort of ultimate fragmentation, there is this gigantic market of homeschooled kids. So millions of kids are homeschooled, and so individual parents then, I guess, develop the curriculum or follow some existing models. Have
Mhm.
you ever thought about maybe targeting this market as well?
Not with this product. We used to have, as you remember, another product, the global online school,
Yeah, yeah,
where we
the Go.
targeted exactly the homeschool market, the FSI Go, and that's a different product. But with this one, we're only targeting
Institutional.
existing schools. So
Mhm.
we're not even targeting new schools. So let's say you are an investor, you want to do a new school. That's perhaps not our market. We're looking at existing schools who want transformation. The question is, one of the questions here that I see is, how do you reach out to your target market? Because there are still people with rigid mindsets tied up with additional
Yeah,
choices and which are not ready to adopt new alternatives with fast-paced environment. I fully agree with you. So we do different things. For example, what we do is we do in a way cold emailing initially, mass mailing, cold emailing to see who are the potential targets, and then we're trying to do regional markets. So we're trying to create country directors,
yeah,
regional directors who know the market better and who could also reach out to potential school principals directly, who know them from before, who have the credibility. And this is, I think, one of the things how you might do it. So you maybe call and say, look, we're doing this and we're doing this project, and we just wanted to see if you would be interested. And this is the product. What would you say about it?
yeah,
In terms of the Africa,
yeah.
our
Pricing
pricing is
model. Yeah,
20,000, yes. 20, we said 20,000, 30,000. But maybe one of the questions is also to test the market price-wise. Maybe, we need to do differentiated pricing. So now we have a same price for everywhere, but maybe, when you do, if you do the study in Africa overall or certain African countries, say, well, one of the things we found out here is that actually, you think 20,000 is reasonable, is cheap. No, it's not. It's pretty expensive. We suggest that you do here 8,000 euros. However, of course, with 8,000 euros, it's not possible to offer maybe the same product, but you offer this and this and that. Or you say that, well, in United States, you don't have to sell this for 20,000. You could actually sell this for 60,000
mhm.
because this is the budget that they have for digital
And
products or
is
for
it what
curriculum.
one question? Is it a one-time price or is it an annual subscription
Annual.
or
It's annual
annual?
subscription.
Because you have a lot of support, so it's not like you just buy and use it. So there is, I assume, there
No,
is lots of maintenance and support that
exactly.
comes with it. Yeah.
It's annual subscription. It's a bit like SaaS also when
Mhm.
you
Yeah, yeah,
when you get digital EdTech products. And I saw a lot of other EdTech products who were part of the X culture
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
in this term as well. So it's pricing and modeling it as a SaaS
yeah. Makes perfect
software.
sense.
Yeah, but ours is school as a service.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it's a very different market. So yeah, we actually just spoke to a company called UniHelper, but so they're all about creating, basically it's a software for creating communities of students, like teams and groups and clubs. So very different. I mean, it's education, it's technology, but a very, very different product and a very different market. So delivering the value to you from the students. So I'll just briefly recap for the students what the task is, but then the question will be, what do they need to do? What should they focus on? What kind of output will make you go like, wow, I want to hire this person? So first they do the market analysis. So they would survey teachers, maybe parents, maybe school principals, maybe government officials who regulate education, and basically ask how these things work in their country, in their location, at their school. And so essentially, are you using any products like that? Whose products are you using? Have you heard about Finnish Schools International? Would you consider it a product like this? Would you be willing to pay the price? Any suggestions? What's, why not? What's missing? What would make it more attractive? Then once you know the market, who operates in the market, and what the Finnish Schools International's sort of competitive position is, you think about the best sort of market, country, region, school, whatever, you define your market. And then for that market, you develop an entry strategy. So you think who the decision makers are, what are the best ways to reach them? Is it some conferences? Is it emails? Is it letters? Is it social media? Is it LinkedIn? Is it something else? What should be the message? How do you deliver it? And then also maybe some suggestions for, I don't know, like pricing, for example, is one of the questions I believe there. Certification, again, does it need to be approved by the ministry? Accreditation, what does it take? How much it costs and things like that. And as I always say, be specific. So it's not enough to say advertise at conferences. Which conferences? How much does it
Exactly.
cost? What kind of materials do you present? How do you get at the program, on the program of that conference? If it's social media, same thing, which specific, how, what's the message, how you reach the people, how do you target them? Again, for you students, that's a good exercise because it's always more complicated than it looks. But for the company, if you say advertise on social media, that's not useful. They obviously thought about that. So give the specifics, give the insight that they don't have at this time. And so then back to you, Alayton. So what would be the type of output that will make you go like, well, give me the name of that person, I want to hire them, or at least want to hear more from them? So would it be some sort of a business lead? Not only do they come up with the idea, but they actually talked to the decision makers, and decision makers said, connect me immediately, I want to buy the product? Would it be
Mhm.
something else? So what's of most interest to you?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I think, and first of all, for leads who we're able to convert afterwards, we're also offering, I think, 25%
After
of
market commission, after the contract, yeah.
from,
Mhm.
yeah, commission from the first year, which is sort of one incentive. But for someone, for example, through this, we're also looking for regional managers. So people who really come to us with a full country overview, saying, "Look, in X country, someone just said, look, in India, this is too expensive because." He basically exchanged it into rupees and said, well, this is high amount for small and medium schools to pay it. But let's say I bring you India, or not even India, because India is big. So
Mhm.
it's just one state in India or two states or a region or whatever, and say, this is the number of schools. I have spoken to, I don't know, 50 of them. 8 are already interested going
Mhm.
next step. But I think that we need to change this, or we need to change maybe that, in order to move further. And then this is sort of the report that will make us go, wow, and perhaps make us
Yeah.
consider those students as potential, of course, if they're interested, always,
Yeah. Yeah.
as potential regional managers for different regions or countries. Of course, we said these are our potential regions. If you say that, well, actually Australia
Yeah.
is very interesting for this, and it's not in your list. Can I do it? Of course you can do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's also it's a
And
it's a
now that it's
step.
electronic, geography doesn't really is not an impediment
Exactly.
anymore. One
But
thing I will
also,
say to Pinkandi, up in the country, I don't know, 20,000 may sound like a large amount of money. Well, first of all, if you think it's too much, do your research and suggest how it should be priced. Maybe it is too much. But I'm looking, so that's about $50 per student per year, or like $4 per month per student. I don't know what the standard should be, and as I said, that's what you guys need to do a research on. But $4 per month per student, that actually seems quite reasonable to me if you get, substantial, not only curriculum, not only, real quality, but also recognition, branding. Like I'm thinking here about, for example, schools that primarily cater to like expatriate kids, Singapore, Dubai, all these international cities. I'm sure they would be much willing to send their kids to school that is powered by, like a known brand, a stamp of quality, than to go to something they don't know, especially if it's in English. So I don't know. I mean, again, I do see a lot of opportunities here, but that's why we need you guys to do the research, to talk to users, to see how the competition does it. Maybe it's too much, maybe it's too little, maybe it should be more in some regions, less in others. Maybe it should be in some, maybe like parents should pay, like a $5 fee per month. I don't know if it's a good idea, but maybe
in
it shouldn't be the
Turkey,
school. Yeah.
Vas, I'm sorry to interrupt. In Turkey, that's what we're trying to do. So in Turkey, the schools are actually building a package, okay? So they say in order to implement this, we need the parents to pay $70 for the equipment in order to implement the curriculum,
Uh-huh.
okay?
Uh-huh.
So then the equipment actually costs around $35. And then the other 35 they're collecting from the parents in order to
Subscriptions.
pay us for
Yeah.
the subscription. So it comes to the school, it's zero extra costs, but they have really, they get something incredible, but at a zero cost. Because in Turkey, the parents perhaps don't want to pay a lot in tuition fees, which is still high actually. Now it's 4,000, 5,000 is the normal
Yeah.
now tuition fee for a low sort of ranked school. But they pay a lot for materials,
Hmm.
whether books and learning materials or other equipment or even resources in a way. So they pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars on that. And so they're trying to package it, my partners, they're trying to package it in that way. So to the school, it comes at zero because it gets
Yeah, yeah,
paid
yeah, I
by
see.
the parents.
Yeah, maybe it could be like that. Yeah, the model like that. All right, well, we are out of time. Thank you so much. So again, students, this one looks like a very interesting company, if only for a reason that you have very easy access to the potential customers. In any
Mhm.
city, in any country, you have schools that potentially might be interested. So easy to do research, but also lots of activity in this space. So you can maybe see something that others do, read about something that others do, know somebody from this space where you can get some insights and ideas. So I'm actually very curious to see for myself what will come out of this effort of this large international crowd.
Um, Perfect. I'll just because there's this just to I will sum up once more
Mhm.
the product somebody asked. I will write it down here as well, just for you to have the idea. But it's an EdTech digital
Good.
franchise
Yeah.
with the following features: a phenomenon-based learning curriculum,
Mhm.
a full teacher training hub, branding powered by FSI, a quality assurance framework and model that we improve every year, and the network, being part of
Yeah.
FSI network and what that brings, collaboration and all that.
Yeah.
And this is a model that is well proven globally. Our school, our sort of the lab school is top 10 in the world, has been CNN featured. So it's a proven model that we want now to share with the whole world.
Yeah. So if I can sort of rephrase it, let's say you either run an existing school or you're opening a school. So you need to know what you will teach. You need to have
Mhm.
people who can teach it. So you need to train them. And then you would like your customers' parents, I guess, know that it's a quality program. And so here you sort of buy the whole package. So they give you what to
Exactly.
teach, they train the teachers how to teach it, they give the stamp of approval, one of the best curricula or schools in the world. And then in addition, you become a part of network of these schools that use this curriculum so that you can connect with them, learn from each other. Basically, you become part of a network and there is a lot of social learning support and things like that going on. So it may take you years, if not decades, to develop this capability internally if you want to develop your own curriculum, train your own teachers and things like that. Or you can pay, in my opinion, a relatively modest amount, but again, you guys will do the research and get that from the very beginning. And so I assume, let's say an average school has, I don't know, 20, 50 teachers. I don't know what the salaries are in your market, but that's basically for less than a salary of one teacher, you get the whole package. So I imagine that otherwise you would need to hire multiple personnel to develop all this, to train. So this seems like a potentially good solution or not. So you'll do the research and
Exactly.
hopefully you will come up with some ideas and assessment and suggestions. All right, so let's stop here then. Thank you so much, Leighton. So let's see what the students
Thank
come
you.
up with. And if you guys have any additional questions, you can send them to admin@xculture.org and we will forward them to the company, this one, or if it's another company. So this way you will be fully informed. And we'll see, maybe we'll do another webinar further in the semester once you've done your research and have more questions. All right.
Wonderful. I look forward to having as many of you part of us.
Yes.
Of course, there are so many interesting companies Vas very carefully curates every semester. You're very lucky to be in the X culture. I mean, some of you maybe have already done it, but it's a life-changing experience for all of you. So, you know, do it to the fullest because
Yeah.
it's really worth it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. So, yes, talk to you soon, Alatin, and students, good luck. So, let's see what you bring as your ideas and business needs. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.